All right.
What's up, everybody? It's your man, Donovan Sharp, and welcome to this episode of the Sharp Reality Live. Uh, as always, I can be found on Twitter at Donovan_Sharp. You can also find all podcast episodes on my website, thesharpreality.com, as well as my YouTube channel, SoundCloud, and iTunes. And of course, you can always check out my archive at returnofkings.com. Now, if you have a question or a comment, just be sure to submit it in the chat section along with your name and location. If you want to come on with us live, submit your Gmail address in the chat section, and we'll bring you on. And I mean, this includes anything. I mean, if you want to troll us, if you want to ask us questions, we don't care. My special guest and I we're certainly equipped to handle anything that comes our way. So today's guest on TSR Live is none other than Oshay Duke Jackson. This guy talks about a number of red pill topics on his YouTube channel, not the least of which is the African-American male side of the red pill. Him and I have sort of nicknamed it the black pill, and we'll be rolling that out here pretty soon. Right now, he's got over 700 videos. I've made an appearance on one of them, and I would strongly suggest that you guys subscribe to his channel. Oshay Duke Jackson, that's OSHAYDUKEJACKSON. He also runs a website, which is negromanosphere.com, where I myself have written several articles. I've written several articles for that site here over the past couple months. This guy is as plugged into the red pill as anyone out there, so it's a real treat to get him here on the show. So, Oshay, how's it going today, man?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, man. Glad to be on the show finally.
Yeah, really, sort of a role reversal of sorts, man. I remember when I made the appearance with you. That was that was actually the first time that I'd ever been on a YouTube live video, so it was quite an experience. But it's definitely good to talk to you. And I have had a number of conversations here over the past few months about the direction of the manosphere. But one question that I always ask my guests when they come on, this being the third episode of the Sharp Reality Live, how did you discover the red pill? What event or what aha moment happened to you that caused you to Google or look up, hey, what happened? Why am I bad with girls? Or how did you discover the red pill? What brought you to the manosphere?
Well, I think as a black YouTuber, I think when we say red pill, I think a lot of brothers just discover it before we even knew what red pill is. I think it's more innate than anything. I lived in a neighborhood where I grew up with maybe less than stellar circumstances. So you had a typical type of, a female or lack of feminine traits in certain black women that you are coming across. So I would say that it wasn't maybe an aha moment, but after a succession of several bad circumstances that probably started, anywhere between I don't know, maybe like 8 years old, up until probably up until now. It is just something that just was continuously kind of going around. It wasn't like one moment in particular, but if you listen to like my channel, you would notice like a lot of the things we're dealing with, particularly black women. You just after a while, you kind of ride that bicycle for a long time. You kind of know that road. You know those street corners. So it wasn't like one particular moment, but it was typically like a lot of different moments. And it's okay, this is different. So stuff like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Most men who are red pill aware, sometimes it takes one event for them to discover the red pill, but I would submit to you that it probably takes more than one event. The first time I ever got my heart broken, I was nowhere close to discovering the red pill because I hadn't really discovered a pattern. There wasn't a pattern that went along with it. I figured that this was just an aberration. This was just a one-time thing. This wasn't going to happen again, or that not all women are like that, as we like to put it. It wasn't until, and I've told this story plenty of times before, my discovery of the red pill happened after an insignificant relationship with a Mexican girl. And the only reason why I discovered the red pill is because at that point, now I was beginning to see a pattern. Okay, what I'm doing isn't working, even with low quality women like this. So what the fuck is going on? I need to make a change. And that's sort of what brought me here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say maybe around age, maybe like as soon as I graduated, kind of university, which I was like 26. I already gained a certain amount of knowledge from what I was dealing with, but kind of when I was like, I saw a jump because, like I said, there was no name for the red pill. I mean, most black men won't probably call it that.
Sure.
But I would say maybe like 26 is kind of when I knew, okay, this is kind of what I don't like. Age 30 is what I was like, well, this is what I don't like, and I will never go for the shit again. And then age 35 was, I know where I'm at now was like, well, I know that this probably won't get any better at any time soon. Let me do what I need to do for myself. So it was kind of like successions, when I was kind of seeing, like you said, the patterns. And then when I was able to kind of explain the patterns would have been maybe around 30. And where I'm like
Okay.
able to really, really, so it's a little bit different for me than most people.
Okay, very good. Now, we've had this conversation before in terms of the Negro Manosphere, but what made you start the Negro Manosphere blog?
Well, what ended up happening was there's another black YouTuber because named the Angry Man, and he said black men need their own commission, and it had been rumored that we needed a black male website that was somewhat maybe comparable to the Great Return of Kings, which you write for, which is the best red pill website on planet Earth. So I came up with the name of the Negro Manosphere because people were referring to the Black Manosphere as just ideas, but there was nothing, a site called it. So I actually bought the domain in October. And then I found out about you. Well, I had read some of your stuff before, that me and it had even talked. But when I believe me and you hooked up around December is when the content started being produced. So within a month or two, like right now, we're already up to maybe like, averaging around 1,000 views a day, which is really good for a new site.
Right.
With no ads, and it's completely funded by donations. So yeah, so it's been up for about 3 months, but consistently, really 1 month strong. It's doing pretty good.
Okay, well, let's get to the topic du jour here, black women and why they are undateable. Now, I've written a couple of articles on Return of Kings about why I no longer date black women, and to just sort of give a refresher in terms of my opinion on it, is this wasn't I've always told people that I didn't consciously make the decision to stop dating black women. It was just a natural progression in my game. I started sleeping with beautiful women, beautiful feminine women on the regular. Obviously, I whipped myself into better shape. My financial outlook is better. And those things, when you put them all together, that gives you, as just a natural byproduct of your lifestyle, it gives you access to higher quality females in terms of looks. Well, somewhere along the way, and I couldn't tell you for the life of me when that happened, but I remember just thinking about it. I was driving in my car one day and I rode by this good looking black chick and I was like, man, I wonder if she has just the typical things that go through your mind when you see a good looking chick. Let me check out her ass. What does her mom look like? I wonder if she has a boyfriend, husband, whatever. And then I thought to myself, you know what? It's been a while since I actually dated a black chick. Like it had been, I can't even tell you how long it had been since I'd even fucked one. And so I sat down and thought about it for a while. And the reason I don't date black chicks anymore is because they have nothing to offer the red pill version of myself. Look, 10 years ago, I was knee deep in black chicks because I didn't have any game. But now that I'm a much higher value male than I used to be, And because of that, at this point, now I have access to better quality women. And black women are not, they're nowhere near that category. So I'd be interested to hear your take on why black women are just undateable here in the United States.
Yeah, wow. I could probably write a book on that.
Couldn't we all, right?
Yeah, I think that the issue is this. And somebody like yourself, I mean, if you listen to you talk, and this is no offense,
no, that's fine.
You are very articulate and forthcoming in what you're trying to say. And as you love to say offline, you have a very strong grasp of the English language. Black men like you, who may sound maybe Caucasian or can speak the King's English very well, are not really well received by the majority of African American women, and which makes it very difficult for even people like me. Now, I'm not necessarily as well spoken as you, even though I am, I am in medical school. Nor can I write as good as you can. But one of the big problems is that black men who can articulate like yourself or like myself. One of the reasons things that make most black women undateable is that they have a hard time recognizing decent black men who can actually do things. For example, if me and you were non-black in other cultures, we would be very well received and we would be naturally considered the alpha males because, here we are, black men who have a very high skill set, very high value, things they can offer to society. The reason why black women are undateable, number one, in America is that they do not respect the higher partition or smarter black men who have the ability to, number one, build those communities back up and contribute instantly into the society. So when you have a group of women who do not realize that, hey, you have a guy like Donovan Sharp who has a strong, grasp of the English language. If you have a baby by this guy or you have kids by this guy, your son or daughter is automatically going to benefit from his skill sets. Black women typically do not think like this. And so what makes them undateable is that if you're a very highly intelligent person like you or even considering myself, they don't respect that. So you actually have to be very fucking stupid for the most part for black women to take you. I hate to say this, black women do not judge on intelligence. They judge on pretty much primal instinct, like animals, because I think you have a higher testosterone. So they look at height, they look at looks, they look at swag, things that make no fucking sense. That's why the black manosphere, and I'm gonna stop talking here. That's why the black manosphere has to kind of separate itself from the white manosphere, because the things that black men have to go through in their communities are very much different than what a lot of white men have to go through, just for the fact that an intelligent black man is automatically going to be pushed to the fucking back of his society by his own women.
Right. I would agree with you 100%. And just going back to what you said about the difference between the black manosphere and the mainstream manosphere, yeah, they have to be different, because black people and white people, let's just take the sex out of it for just a second. We experience a very different America. I actually referenced this in a piece that I wrote for you and a podcast that I did, Stop Helping Women, like why you should stop helping women. And in the beginning, in the beginning of that podcast, I talked about this argument that I used to get into with this chick that I'm fucking right now about blowing through a red light. And, it always starts the same way. We pull up to the light and it says clearly, do not make a right on red. And she'll say to me, just blow through it. I mean, I do all the time. And she's a white girl. And I have to tell her all the time, hey, look, again, you're a white woman and I'm a black man. You can get away with shit that I can't. That's just how it is. It's not your fault. I'm not resentful. I'm just letting you know how it is. Well, it's the same thing with black men and white men. Mm-hmm. White men, we experience America differently. We're viewed differently because we're just different types of people. Now, when it comes to game, I would submit to you that black men like yourself and myself, I think we experience America differently than typical black people, period. And let me expound on that for a little bit. I've been pulled over countless times, especially when I lived in the South. I used to always get profiled because, yes, racial profiling, it happens. Am I pissed off about it? No. This is how it is. There's nothing I can do to change it, and I'm not trying to change it. So I just moved out. So I just moved out of there. It's not like racial profiling doesn't happen everywhere, but there are certain steps that I take to make sure to reduce the likelihood of me being racially profiled. Okay, so that's out of the way. Be that as it may, I might still be racially profiled. But it's so funny. Even before I had discovered the red pill in my early to mid 20s, I get pulled over for no reason. Failure to come to a complete stop when making a right on red. Failure to coming to a complete. I used to get pulled over for bullshit reasons all the time. And I used to sell Audi automobiles back when I was 19 years old, between my freshman and sophomore year in college. And I used to transport cars between dealerships. And I'd be right there on the 440 belt line. Anybody in Raleigh, North Carolina, who's familiar with the 440 belt line, it's teeming with cops all the time. No problem. I'm never speeding, but you see a young black guy in a $70,000 vehicle with dealer tags on it, I'm going to get pulled over every time. So they pull me over, and the guy's got an attitude problem, license and registration. So I'd give him my license and the car's registration, and and as soon as he asked me, he would say, son, does this car belong to you? I'd look at him with a smirk and say, no, sir, it does not. And as soon as they hear me speak, I am viewed in a different light. Yes, I am still a black man, but but because of the way I talk, they view me as less of a threat. And to tie that into what you were talking about in terms of attraction, this is the category that black women put us black men in. Listen, man, I used to get made fun of all the time in high school. I used to get, you talk like a white boy, et cetera, et cetera. And everybody always tells me, hey, look, I'm going to tell you something about yourself. And I mean, no offense. I already know that they're going to tell me, hey, Donovan, you sound like a white guy when you talk. Listen, it's happened my entire life. People, when I was on with you, this is funny. When I was on with you, doing the live podcast with you, people were in the chat section saying, "Wait, this guy is black? I thought he was white." So it's nothing new. But again, it's alpha fucks beta bucks. When black women used to hear me talk, they used to dismiss me. But that was when I was 5'9", 145 pounds soaking wet. Well, now I'm 6'1", 225, 230. And regardless of what I sound like, black women do pay attention because I'm a tall, good-looking black guy. I'm in great shape, et cetera, et cetera. But it didn't always used to be that way. But guess what, chicks? It's too fucking late. Like, I'm not trying to fuck your ghetto ass anymore.
I was man. But that's true. That makes them that definitely makes them. That's one of the main reasons that make them undateable. Black women, for the most part, feel that they're very intelligent. Like you will hear them say we're the most educated group of women. But really,
get the fuck out of here.
Right. What ends up happening is that the most educated group of women wouldn't lead the highest STDs, single mother, but lab births. The real thing is that black women are pretty much, for the most part, afraid of any intelligent black men. They don't like to deal with men that they feel have the ability to take control of anything in the back of the black community or. So this is the reason why they're undateable in that first regard. It's just they typically denounce those black men who are the most brightest and most intelligent in their community. That's the number one reason. I can go on to more if you like. So
yeah, absolutely. Please, by all means.
The second reason outside of that, black women have a strong sense of entitlement. Now, and it's disingenuous. For example, I don't know if you've ever heard of Ricky Smiley.
No, I haven't, actually.
Ricky Smiley is a very popular comedian, kind of like in the black church kind of community. His son just made a statement that said that he wasn't attracted to black women because he likes foreign women. Now, I think for guys like me or guys like you, and I do have a strong attraction for black women still. I know that you said you don't date them, but I think that for me and you, it's like, well, it's not because of what they look like, but what it is that black women are very disingenuous to this regard, and that is black women have a strong sense of entitlement that everybody should like them despite their fuck ups. And if you don't like them, then there's a big problem. For example, you owe it to a black woman to do something because your mother is also a black woman. Your grandmother is a black woman. Your great grandmother is a black woman. But yet, those same black women have no problem criticizing, your black ass, even though they have black fathers. They have a strong sense of entitlement. And the reason that they have a strong sense of entitlement, it's no secret, most black women are on the left.
Right.
And the left has a strong sense of entitlement. They feel that they should never really contribute anything to the society, and that men should, in particular, black men, should just give them something, just for the fact that they are black women and your mother's black.
Right.
Listen.
Yeah, I was just to piggyback off of what you were saying. They think that black women think that black men owe them something just because we're black and they're black. And it's funny. One thing that they always say, listen, I haven't talked. The only black women I talk to are the ones related to me at this point. And so, I don't often talk to black women unless I absolutely have to, because they fucking make me sick. They really do. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not trying to get clicks. They do. But one thing that one statement that they would always used to seem to prevail when they saw you with a woman of another race, particularly white girls, is that, white girls get everything. You got to take our men too. And I always chuckle when I hear that, because we don't belong to anybody, least of all black women. Just because I'm dating or fucking a white girl, a Mexican, a Latina, whatever the case may be, they're not taking anything from you. So that's the first thing. So they feel like they are entitled to black men because we are black. The second point I wanted to make is we can thank our friend, Mr. Tyler Perry, for the continuous perpetuation of the entitled black woman. Anyone who has ever watched a Tyler Perry movie, it is quite literally just it's like a banner advertisement that says, hey, if you are a black woman, you are a queen. You deserve everything for no other reason but that you are a black woman. It's almost like it's on auto. It's like auto repeat. And you watch this bullshit enough, and eventually they start to, it's already internalized from birth. But eventually they really, really start to believe that shit, and and then they turn around and understand, well, why don't I have a man? Bitch, it's because you think you're entitled. You don't listen, man, as a man, not even a black man, as a man, I don't deserve shit. Everything in life I have, or everything that I'm entitled to, is because I worked for it. I became like, I take tremendous pride in the fact that I'm a self-made man. I don't deserve anything. Okay, I deserve what I put the work in for. And as far as bitches out here talking about, well, you should treat black women well because your mother is black, bitch, please. My mother and you are two very different people. The only thing you two have in common is that you're both black. That is all there is to it. So I think that the continuous perpetuation, I don't even know if that's a word, but I think the continuous cycle in terms of what black women think that they deserve or what they feel like they're entitled to, that is one of the many things that makes them undateable.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, black women, as you pointed out, they have a strong sense of entitlement, but yet, they don't think that, they think that they deserve everything. Like, for example, black women typically want, it doesn't matter how big or how fucked up they look. Most black women have a high affinity for a guy who's 6'4", 250 pounds. No matter if you have 3 or 4 kids by 3 or 4 different dudes, they believe that they should get the best of people.
Right.
And they even believe not only the best of black men, but they believe that they should get the best of white people. Like, for example, you will hardly ever hear black men, if they date a white woman, I mean, you're a coon, you're a sellout, you're Uncle Tom.
Oh yeah.
Black woman dates white man. Oh, girl, you better go ahead and do that. Yeah, you doing
Right.
completely disingenuous, So I mean,
That's a double standard, man, and that it's so transparent. Like it's so transparent. Stacey Dash, Halle Berry, who, by the way, Halle Berry is a fucking psycho. She is absolutely fucking psycho. She has had, dude, she's had more cock than a brothel, and every man that she's ever been with has cheated on her. Yet, and listen, I'll call out black men too. We continue to look at women like Halle Berry and Vivica Fox and Janet Jackson as like the pinnacles of black womanhood. Dude, fuck those old bitches. Dude, Janet Jackson showed her tit on national TV via Justin Timberlake during the Super Bowl 38 halftime show. This was 14 years ago, and her tits were still fucked up. Janet Jackson is old. Vivica A. Fox is old. Halle Berry is old and fucking psycho. Black men need to quit. Black men need to quit pedestalizing these old fucking black bitches. Yes, Vanessa Williams had her time. She is no longer a 10. Like, get out of that. Like, get the fuck out of here with that. And don't get me started on this. And I don't even know what the fuck her name is, but she's this woman who always appears in these Tyler Perry films, like Why Did I Get Married? And she's the one that's always like fucking Michael Jai White. I think she's from Camden, New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken. It's just, I mean, like it is unbelievable. Like she spends, like Tyler Perry hands her the script and says, look, just be an angry black woman and yell. And she's like, I'm in. You know, few million dollars later, she's a movie star. But
hello?
The way black women, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. One thing that is a contributing factor to black women acting the way they do, and I was actually on with Obsidian and Alan Roger Curry back around the Christmas time, is that the black community is largely run by women. Like you go into like Atlanta, Georgia. I used to live like right before I came out to the West Coast. I used to live in Clayton County, right out there in the Jonesboro Forest Park area, East Point, et cetera, et cetera. It's run by black women. Like most of the business owners are black women. Daycare centers, black women. It's nothing but black chicks. And of course, you know, we can all point to the fact that, you know, black men in the black community, they're not really as successful as black women because of, you know, feminism, things of that nature. But this is where they get it from. Little girls grow up in these communities and they really believe that as a black woman, it is your birthright to be the alpha females of society, when that's just an oxymoron. There's really no such thing as an alpha woman or an alpha female. And this is why black women and all women for that matter are perpetually unhappy.
Oh yeah. That's totally good points. That's true. Absolutely.
What do you think of black women? And a lot of black women tend to point to this. They always say, well, black women are angry and you guys think we ain't shit. Well, you know what? Anytime you point out the shortcomings of a female, regardless of her race, they're always quick to point the finger back in the direction. So you walk up to a woman and say, you know what? The dating market is fucked up because girls cheat all the time. They lie all the time. They never look in the mirror and say, hey, you know what? He's right. They are always quick to point the finger and say, well, if you hadn't started it first, then everything would be. So it's basically like a chicken and egg argument. What do you say to black women out there who said, okay, you call us undateable? Well, y'all niggas ain't dateable either. What do you say to black women like that? Because you know that's what they're thinking.
Well, I would say that in retrospect, they would be right. And the reason why is we got to understand, well, why are these black men undateable? If black women say black men are undateable, well, why are black men undateable? And then we got to look and let's analyze those black men. And what we're going to do is let's look at who is raising those black men. And then,
very good, very good.
Okay, well, these black men are coming from single mother-led homes. Well, why would black? And then before you even ask them, well, why are black men undateable? Well, black women will tell you black men are emotional. They are unstable. Yeah, I would agree. And so would be black women. I mean, if you look at everything that destroys black men and makes them undateable, you cannot get around the fact that black women have created the monster black men that you see out in black communities that sell drugs or break into homes or make them unstable, anything that is anti-patriarch is created typically by black women. So if they say that niggas ain't shit, well, then you got to go back and look at who created those niggas who ain't shit.
Right.
It would be black, and now we're still back at black women, because that whole primal instinct, like, hey, you stepped on my shoes, I'm going to shoot you. You said something that I don't like, I'm going to fight you. That those are the type of things that women do. This is exactly the reason why that you see black men who kill each other over $5 or get over emotional. They learn these things from their black mothers, who, oh, by the way, are the most violent amongst all women. They're the worst stewards of children. And so all of this stems back to black. So if they say that, then you also gotta analyze who are raising these men, who are rearing these men. It goes back to
no,
that.
I agree. And we got our first comment here. Looks like Blood, Fire, and Soul says, quote, yeah, it's true. Black women run the community. They want to be alpha all the time. I don't touch them. You can't have two alphas in a relationship. What do you say to that?
Well, I mean, that's absolutely fucking true. And the thing is that black women want to run the communities, but you got to look at places like Detroit, Coleman Young. You have to understand, any black community is typically two symptoms you're going to see, two signs: black female-oriented ran and heavily Democratic. So if you go look at East Cleveland, you look at Memphis, you look at Detroit, you look at Philadelphia. I mean, you're going to see a lot of black women. You're going to see a lot of Democrats.
Right.
And so if you look at the black community prior to that, let's look at who built Morehouse College. We want to look at who started Hampton University. Booker T. Washington starts Tuskegee University in the late 1800s, and then you have Dr. George Washington Carver destroying the boll weevil and planting peanuts. I mean, these are black men who are actually building with the communities, with black women staying in their place. When black men ran communities, I mean, you see what happens. You have no violence hardly. You have better behaved children. There's nothing that you can get coming out of black female-led homes but chaos.
Right. And again, black women, the reason black women aren't feminine, and somebody actually told me this recently, because they're used to doing everything alone. Their men are in jail because of the fucked up laws. That's just kind of, and again, it comes full circle, right? So you take a black man who's dating a black woman. He gets pulled over and, he's got a warrant out for his arrest or whatever the case may be. Now he's in jail. And of course, DAs always overcharge. They always over prosecute. And so you end up pleading to a lesser crime, but you're still in jail. That's that's basically just how it works. So black women are quick to blame black men for black men being fucked up, when they need to understand that it's not. Listen, man, like, as a black man, like, I'm not going to sit here and say that the problem is completely black women. It's 99% black women. Fuck that noise. I don't give a fuck. Fuck y'all. I don't give a fuck. Like, seriously, fuck y'all. Black women are so deplorably they're just so unbearable. They are so unbearable to the point that even if a good, quote unquote, good man came along, they wouldn't know what the fuck to do with him. It's just, it's one of these quandaries, man, where you can't win for losing.
Let me kind of go to this point, because one of the reasons why black women are undateable is lack of femininity. And this is something that you wrote in your classic articles, 5 reasons why no one is black women, which is probably one of the best things I've ever read on the internet. Now, Rouge, which I've never met, I would love to meet him. I know he's not too far from me. I know he used to actually live in the city that I'm living in, which is in Lublin, Poland.
Right.
He wrote an actual, he stayed here for 6 months. You don't really understand what real femininity is. And I don't think anybody in the red pill that has never left the United States will really understand what femininity is until you come to Eastern Europe. That's the only way.
I've heard that.
Because what you think femininity is going to be only in hindsight. I mean, this is probably the reason why if Roosh doesn't, he spends most of the time over here, is because the femininity is how women are supposed to act, how women are supposed to behave. And you'll see it in certain Muslim countries too, obviously, Saudi Arabia, Iran,
Sure.
like this. But over here, you will really see it. Once you realize what real femininity is, which is docility, that's a big part of femininity, docility. When you go back to America, like I did last summer, you will realize that not only are American women anti-feminine, Black women are everything away from femininity.
Oh my God, yeah, they're the polar opposites, man.
Antithesis. So what? If you look at how some of them talk, some of the language that they use,
oh God, yeah.
we'll have many Black women clearly discussing their sexual appetites on Facebook. Many of them are even big as men are. It's hard for a man to build a relationship with a woman who doesn't enjoy being women. And Black women typically don't enjoy being women, which is why they're trying to actively compete with Black men for the same type of financial success. So that's
And listen, you hit the nail on the head. When black women who are acting masculine, that part of the reason they act masculine is because it's a projection play. Women often act like, or how can I put this? Women project what they desire. So if a woman project, then this is clueless women, and they do this without even thinking about it. If they want a strong masculine man who doesn't take any shit from anybody, quick-tempered, will speak his mind, etc., well, then that's the way they act, thinking that sexual attraction is symmetrical. It's the same with white girls too. You'll go to a bar, you'll see some white girl hooting and hollering at the game, being a wisecracking, ball-busting comedian, but she doesn't realize she's being unattractive. Well, that's what she wants in a man, and she thinks that that's what attracts men to her, but that's not really the case. Black women act the way they do in part because they are projecting what they want in a black man. Now, they'll tell you they want someone who's sensitive and caring and this and that and the other, and they're surrounded by these kinds of men, and they couldn't be any more disgusted by those men. They really can't. Take for example, Athlon McGuinness on Return of Kings, one of the greatest writers for my money in ROK history. He's also black, and he wrote a piece called "Why Do Black Women Love Scandal?" And he was very quick to point out that the show's protagonist, who's played by the scrumptious Kerry Washington, she plays Olivia Pope. Right. She's fucking the president, who's white. And the high value black male who goes by the name of Edison Davis on the show is all but throwing himself at her, but she doesn't give him the time of day. And black women who watch the show, they hate Edison Davis with a passion. And he asked the question, well, wait a minute, Edison Davis embodies every quality that you could ever want in a quote unquote good black man, yet you guys hate him with a seething contempt that's unmatched by anything we've ever seen. So again, what women say they want and what they actually do want are two different things, and it's proven every day by black chicks, by black women who act masculine. That's just how it is.
Oh yeah. I couldn't agree more. Let me come up with another reason. Another reason that Black women are, for the most part, undateable. They lack self-esteem. Many people, I don't know if you put this as one of your top 5 reasons on your article. I don't remember seeing this one, but.
No, listen, those, and I'll let you continue in a second. The reason I didn't include self-esteem is because I don't give a shit about a black woman's self-esteem. Fuck their self-esteem. Don't give a shit. That's probably one of the top 5 reasons, but I don't give a shit, so I didn't put it in there. Doesn't apply to me, doesn't affect me one bit. Fuck them. Continue.
The reason why I say this is because it's almost like masculinity, and you have hyper-masculinity. Hyper-masculinity is definitely very fake and phony, very highly aggressive. And when you look at this low self-esteem, You have black women who really have a big problem with other races of women, like white women in
Oh
particular,
yeah.
very jealous, and Asian women. But at the same time, what you will find, because black women do not believe in themselves or in their own natural beauty, what do you find black women participating in? You find black women participating in techniques or things that try to make them look more Eurocentric. So you see black women with skin lightening cream. You see black women with long, accessible weaves. Black women with blonde weaves. And you
Right.
see,
Nicki Minaj, Beyonce. I mean, the list
right,
goes on and on.
and yet you hear them arguing on the behalf of why you should want to deal with black women. But I'm also one of those people that, I like black women to look like a black woman. You know what I mean? But at the same time, black women have a supreme inferiority complex because they are very, very, well, they're very, very threatened by Caucasian women or non-black women. So much so they will spend so much money trying to look like them, even though they are in direct competition with them for particular groups of men. And that makes it very hard to date a woman who doesn't see herself as naturally beautiful, doesn't like the skin that she is in, and believes that she must look like something else in order for her to be physically attractive.
Right. And they miss the mark every time. Because let me give you a bizarro world scenario. Let's say that white women with blonde hair act like black women in the real world. Okay. If that were the case, then then white women with blonde hair who acted masculine and talked shit all the time, they would be at the bottom of the sexual food chain and not black. See, black women need to understand that their lack of options their lack of options has very little to do with the way they look and more to do with the way they act. It has
Absolutely.
nothing to do with the way your hair is. It has nothing to do with your skin tone. And it's so funny. Black women try to get all psychological. Well, the darker the creature that's seen as evil. Listen, man, that may or may not be true. I don't know. I'm not a fucking psychologist. I'm a man. I have a healthy sex drive. All I can tell you is what I'm attracted to. There are many, many black women out here who are attractive. But as soon as they open their mouths, or if you see the way they walk or the way they carry themselves, there is a gross lack of femininity. And
Yeah.
that's the key word. It's femininity. That was the number one reason I don't date black women anymore. In my first column, 5 reasons I no longer date black women. Because they are not feminine. It doesn't have anything to do with your skin. It doesn't have anything to do with your hair. Yes, we want attractive women. Yes, we like long hair. Guess what? You can be feminine and have long hair and carry yourself like a female as a black woman who has skin, who has extremely dark skin. It has nothing to do with that. Like, all women have the capability of being beautiful if they just look and acted, spoke, and carried themselves like females. But black women do not do this, and most of them don't do this. So as men, we sort of we internalize, well, hell, I guess if she looks like X, Y, and Z, then she must act like ABC. This is why we fuck white girls, man. Like, this is why they're trying to look like white girls, and they're missing the mark because they're saying to themselves, okay, well, they're attracted to white girls because they're white. No, sweetheart. Because if I see a white girl who's fat and bitchy and acts like a man, you think I'm sticking my dick in that chick? Fuck no. I'm moving on to the next one. It has nothing to do. Listen, man, it has nothing to do with any of that stuff. It has to do with, do you look good? Do you cook good? Are you fit? Are you feminine? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I couldn't even say it better myself. I mean, that's exactly it.
Let me ask you this. What do you think? And I've got my opinion, but I want to hear your take on this first. What do black men think of black women who date black men? What are your thoughts on that?
Think of black women who date black men or date white women.
Who date white men. Black women who date white men. Do you have an opinion on that, or are you okay?
I have an opinion on that. I'm from California. So when I see black women with white men, I'll be quite honest and tell you that typically these are the most attractive black women and the most natural hair-wearing black women that I come across. Very docile, very well-spoken. So those type of black women that I do see with white men are not the black women that we are talking about right now on the Hangout. White men are typically like poachers, meaning that if they're gonna, now don't get me wrong, you do have the typical fat white guy or the one of the white guys who grew up in the hood amongst black people, and he'll date a ghetto black chick. That happens, but
Sure.
on average, when I do see a white guy who is, somebody would consider him attractive or successful, he's going to be dating the best of black women. That typically is what happened. Now, I do see cases where I see black women who are not so attractive and they date white men who are not so attractive, which nobody really cares about. But I think like the black women who are, for the most part, that I do see are the best looking black women. Let's be honest, most black women cannot get a white man, not a white man of their choice. Most black women can't get the top of the black men of their, most black women can't get the best of black men. So most black women can definitely not get the best of white men. It's not impossible. So,
I agree.
That's my take on it.
No, I would agree. As far as my opinion of black women who date white men, I have absolutely no opinion. Don't give a shit. If she likes white men, she can fuck them. Gentlemen, you're listening to the Sharp Reality Live with special guest Oshay Duke Jackson, founder of NegroManosphere.com. You can also subscribe to his YouTube channel. Just do a quick search for Oshay Duke Jackson. That's OSHAYDUKEJACKSON. This is something, Oshay, that a conversation that I had with someone about a week or week and a half ago. One question that I always get from people is how does your mother feel about you dating white girls or you not dating black women? And it really got me thinking. It was funny because I was sort of thinking out loud. And they would ask me, I mean, like, and I never really gave it any thought because I don't really give a shit who my mom approved of me dating or not. It didn't really matter to me. But here's the thing, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think I'm going to hit the mark on this. My mom had always, now she doesn't give me much shit now. I'm almost 40 years old and she can't tell me what to do. But I've been dating white girls, Mexican girls since high school. And my mom would always say, Donovan, like, why can't you settle down with a nice black girl? I didn't really know why. I really didn't know why at the time because I was very young, but now I do. The reason I didn't is because my mother, if I can say so bluntly, she was an epic slut. All right. Now people may, oh my God, he called his mother an epic slut. Yes, my mother was a slut. She was a and I wrote about this on Return of King. She was a and I love my mother. Okay. But my mother was a virgin bride. She married a military man who was just a couple of years older than she was. They were a very young couple. They had a bunch of kids together. I happened to be one of those children. And when my mom was heavily influenced by military wives, she ended up cheating on my dad. They got separated. Then they got back together, cheated on him again, and ended up leaving us with my dad to go be with this dude. All right. And so when we all so obviously that didn't work out because the guy that she left us for was a bad boy. So we all come together finally again in North Carolina. My dad is stationed at that point in Fayetteville. Me, my mom, my brothers, and my sisters all met up again in Durham, North Carolina. And that's at that point, I'm at the dating age. I'm 16, 17 years old, and I'm dating nothing but white girls. And my mom could never really figure out why I dated white girls at that point. Well, that's because I didn't want to date my mom. Like my mother was the only example. My mother was the only example of black women that I had ever been exposed to, and I guess subconsciously wanted to stay away from that. Did that offend her that I dated white girls? I would say yes. And black mothers internalize this. When they see that their sons are dating white girls, the reason they get upset is because they take it as a personal offense to them. I had a black son by a black man, and my black son is now dating white women. So that is a slight on my character as a black woman. They will never admit this, and this is probably something done on a subconscious level, but listen, I would bet dollars to donuts that that's the deal. I'll give you another example. This is why white men, for a lot of other reasons, this is one of the reasons white men don't like it when their white daughters date black men, okay? White girls, when they're raised by their fathers, so when their white daughter goes out and dates a black man, he takes that as an offense, because he's saying subconsciously to himself, well, look, I'm supposed to be a strong white man, and my daughter is supposed to look for a man who has my characteristics, but she goes completely off the reservation and dates someone completely the opposite of who he is, so he takes offense to that. It is exactly the same as a black woman or a black mother getting upset that his black son is dating white girls, because she expects him to go out and look for someone who is like her. I think it's just an ego thing. Your thoughts on that?
I think it's spot on. What's not talked about is the disdain that many black men have for their mothers, and many black men have a bad interaction with their moms or their sisters or their aunts. And I have a really good relationship with. I mean, my mom wasn't perfect. My grandmother isn't perfect, but I think the positive influence that my mom did have on me and my grandmother did have on me made me more prone. I mean, I don't date interracial, even though and this is gonna sound weird, right? For a guy that talks so much shit about black women in the black YouTube. I haven't dated interracially, and I live in Europe, and I have my own personal reasons as to why that is, and it's not because. And I'll share that on more of maybe another podcast, something like that, because I don't want to go off of that. But what I will say is that a lot of black men do have a lot of bad experiences with their moms, and their moms are the ones who turn them off to black women.
Right.
Fucking the truth, we have put black women on a fucking pedestal in our black community, as if black women can do no fucking wrong. The truth is,
hold on. Not this dude. I have never pedestalized black women. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We have a matrilineal culture, even stemming from Africa, where the black woman is the key to the family. We that's our culture as black people. We really, 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 really worship black women. And the real truth of it is, black women make their sons hate them.
Right.
Anytime. That's just what it is.
No, I agree. And I think that the exaltation of black women in the black community, I think it's a farce. I think on the outside, black men and black women know that black women ain't shit. Like, they know black women ain't shit. But it's almost politically incorrect in the black community to talk shit about black women. Because again, black women know what their traits are. They know their faults. Just like women of any other race. Feminists can get out here and say, "Oh, girls are made of sugar, spice, and everything nice." Every woman on earth knows that is far from the case. Yet they want to project this image that they have this false sense of confidence that, yes, we are made of, like, come on, man. Like, women might be women, but they are as self-aware as anybody on the planet. Right. They know who they are, and they know what they are, regardless of what they project, what they say, or what they do. And black women are the same way. It doesn't matter how much or little she's accomplished. She knows that black women know that they aren't worth much more than just their looks. That's and most women lack agency. In other words, most women lack the ability to make money, to make a substantial amount of money. Yes, and before we get the hate mail, yes, there are exceptions to the rule. Yes, there are women out there who know what the hell they're talking about, et cetera, et cetera. But for the most part, women trade on their looks. Even when women have above average agency, they still trade on their looks. The female executive at a Fortune 500 company is very rarely unattractive. You go to ESPN, you go to Fox Sports 1, the female reporters are not unattractive. You don't see
Right.
fat women on TV. You don't see fat. No, you don't. You don't see fat news anchors. Now, the hot blonde who's doing the weather, she may very well be a qualified meteorologist. That may very well be the case. But I can guarantee that the reason she's in the position that she's in is because of the way she looks, and there is nothing wrong with that.
Right.
What pisses me off is when black women know that they get where they are or get what they want because of their looks, but then they deny it. Like, oh, you got a promotion at work. Oh, well, it might not. That wouldn't have anything to do with with the boob job you got 6 months ago. Oh no, absolutely not. I got this promotion on my own merit and blah. Oh, bitch, please give me a fucking break with that shit. Like, they know what the deal is. And so, to circle back, black women know they're not shit. This is why they eat sugar and carbs all the time, but then they start these threats. I'm big and I am black and bitch, you're not sexy. You're not beautiful. Get the fuck out of here with that.
I agree, man.
It's ridiculous, man. It's fucking ridiculous.
So true. So true, man. It's true.
I just got a comment here. Women who have strong fathers are attracted to strong men regardless of race. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Which is the reason why, and this is going to be a little maybe controversial, but this is the reason why, like a guy, let's use you for an example, very well spoken, probably a very high IQ. This is the reason why maybe black chicks who can't realize that because they don't have any kind of patriarchal leadership. This is exactly why if you go to, you mentioned you were in certain community colleges. This is the reason why white women could pick up on that, or Mexican women could pick up on that, because what you remind them of is their dad. Like,
sure,
white women can, and this is what I realized because I went to Sacramento State University. I graduated from there. White female classmates, when I was taking like organic chemistry or physics and classes like that, when they realized like, oh, this black guy is actually in the right class and not a football player, they would try to fill me out. Like, hey, where how are you doing? And whatever characteristics that they saw in me that reminded them of their dad, it was easier to converse with them. And that's one thing that white women do very well. They can pick up these type of traits in good black men that black women cannot pick up, unless a black woman has like a uncle or a godparent or godfather or an older brother or some person like that in her life. If that black woman doesn't have any type of male mentorship where she can see an actual picture of what a good man is, it's impossible. But white women or Mexican or Asian, they can see that. And even though that guy is black, those qualities that they see in that guy reminds them of their white father. And that's what the white man don't understand. Like, you're dating this black guy and she's like, well, dad, he's just like you. He just not
right.
White. Yeah.
Listen, this is one, and to cross over into sports, and I talk sports a lot, but one thing that I have always said is, especially in the NFL, they're always comparing black quarterbacks to other black quarterbacks. They're always comparing white receivers to white receivers, and et cetera. So, for example, Cam Newton, one of the most physically imposing. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, or not this year statistically, but everybody wanted to compare him to guys like Randall Cunningham or Michael Vick. And Cam Newton has almost nothing in common with either of those quarterbacks except for the fact that he's black. Cam Newton has more in common with Ben Roethlisberger, who is a white quarterback, than he ever had with Michael Vick, who stands at 5'10" and weighs, 195 pounds. Dude, Cam Newton is 6'5", 250 pounds. All right. He's got a howitzer for an arm. And he's great on the field. It's the same with Ben Roethlisberger. Take Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. Okay, he's another black quarterback. Again, everybody wants to compare Dak Prescott to guys like Vince Young or, again, Randall Cunningham or Warren Moon. Dak Prescott physically and the way he plays has more in common with Tim Tebow, who is white, who everybody knows who the fuck Tim Tebow is, but he has more in common with Tim Tebow than any of those other quarterbacks that I mentioned before who were black. And so you make a very good point. When white fathers or black fathers or white mothers or black mothers see their sons or daughters dating outside their race, they think they take an affront to it. And the reason they take offense to it is because they take it personally. If my black son is dating white women, then he must not like me as a black woman. And that may or may not be the case, but it may very well be that white girl or that black boy has the same traits as you do. Just because a white girl dates a black boy doesn't mean that he doesn't have anything in common with her father. And again, this goes exactly back to what I said about the reasons that black women are undateable, because they aren't feminine. It has nothing to do with their skin tone. It has nothing to do with their hair, and everything to do with their characteristics and how they carry themselves. And parents of different races would do well to check themselves and say, okay, what does my son or daughter really see in this person? Let me meet this person and find out what kind of traits they have. And at that point, they'll say, you know what? If I peel back the layers and quit, I guess, racially profiling my black son's white girlfriend or my white daughter's black boyfriend, and really look inside and see what this person is about, maybe they'll find that, you know what? I have more in common with this person than I originally had thought. Or the reason why they're putting up such a wall or a block to it is because maybe they already know that deep down inside, they know that they're not shit as parents. That black mother knows that she was an epic slut and ditched her kids and her husband to go chase some nigga up in Detroit. You feel me? She knows that, and she's not willing to confront that. Same with the white father. He knows he's not shit. He knows he's an alcoholic. He beats up his wife. He's a bad father, doesn't pay attention. So when she goes out and finds a strong black man who looks her in the eye when he talks to her and doesn't have the characteristics that he has, he knows that when he meets this person, this black man or that white girl is everything that you are not, and that's why they're afraid.
Yeah, that's absolutely 1,000% true. I definitely agree. Absolutely.
Okay, we are talking live with special guest Oshay Duke Jackson, founder of NegroManosphere.com. Definitely, guys, subscribe to his YouTube page. Just do a search for Oshay Duke Jackson, Oshay Duke Jackson, Jackson. Speaking of Jackson, I wanted to ask you about another quote unquote YouTube star, and that's Derek Jackson, who spells his last name Jax. I think it's N or apostrophe. I don't fucking know. What do you think about that guy, man? But for the listeners and viewers who aren't familiar with Derek Jackson, he's a good-looking black dude who panders to black women, and he has made a fortune on telling black women exactly what they want to hear. You're beautiful no matter what you do. You can be 600 pounds and have no hair and get weaves and 6-inch nails shaped like daggers and still be attractive and be bossy and this and that and the other. And you deserve the best that black men have to offer. You deserve a Morris Chestnut looking nigga with a six pack and 6-figure nigga. Like, you deserve all of that stuff. What do you think of men like Derek Jackson?
I think that men like Derek Jackson themselves don't even believe that shit. I think it's all just Derek Jackson, I've seen Instagram screenshots of him cussing out bitches that don't agree with him, and like he'll DM like, you weave-headed bitch, you dirty asshole. I mean, Derek Jackson is just an opportunist. Derek Jackson doesn't even practice what he preaches. This is why, like, guys like that, you can't really take these people serious. And for the most part, like, even black women, a lot of them are starting to see that Derek Jackson's a fraud. But Derek Jackson's a businessman. I mean,
sure.
What we do. I mean, even in the manosphere. I know you write for you write for the black manosphere in the mainstream manosphere. We know this is the truth, but hey, we make money from this. This is something that pays our bills. Derek Jackson's no different. But the thing about Derek Jackson is he's completely dishonest. He makes a shitload of money. I mean,
oh my God, yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I agree, man. It's amazing.
but Derek Jackson understands. I mean that he can say all that to black women and pander them up. But the thing about it is that black women are so dumb they don't understand it. That doesn't help you. Derek Jackson, he can pander you all day. He's not going to make black men change their mind. The black men who can do better and can avoid dating fat single mothers or unattractive women or women with bad attitudes, they are going to still do so no matter what Derek Jackson fucking says. And Derek Jackson makes black women unaccountable. And that's one thing that makes black women undateable is that they're very highly unaccountable.
Right. They get to be, they get to engage in the worst behavior. And this is really true of all females in America. We don't put their feet to the fire. We don't make them accountable. And and I agree with you. I don't have anything against Derek Jackson. As a matter of fact, I think he's quite brilliant. He saw a market. He saw a mark, which is the American black woman, who unfortunately for them, they pay millions of dollars to get told what they want to hear, like this women's empowerment. It's all bullshit. And Derek Jackson said to himself, "Well, hell, all I have to do is tell black women that they're strong and beautiful, and that they should be up to their eyeballs in cock, and I'll get rich." And damn it, he pulled it off. And I'll say this to you: Derek Jackson can talk all this shit about how beautiful black women are. I can guarantee he hasn't fucked a black woman in over a decade. I promise you, dude. A black dude that looks like him is not, dude. His dick is not going anywhere near black pussy, man. And if and look, man, like I know that him and Obsidian had sort of a beef. And I'm not going down that road. Like Derek, you and I are simpatico. I've peeped your game. Hey, more power to you. Keep taking these black girls. Keep taking these ignorant ass black chicks for their money, man. I ain't mad at you. I'm really not. But at the end of the day, Derek Jackson is successful not because he panders to black women, but because he knows the red pill truth. He knows the red pill truth, and he's exploiting it for his benefit. I got no problem with anybody who wants to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite obvious that Derek Jackson is an opportunist, and we live in a capitalist society. If they want to keep giving, what do they say? Money and a fool and his money will soon part. So this is what happens.
No, I agree. One last question here for you before we wrap things up here. The recent election, Donald Trump, he beat out Hillary Clinton. Right. It's probably the greatest upset in political history. Absolutely. Definitely the greatest upset in politics in my lifetime. What do you think a Trump presidency? What effect do you think a Trump presidency will have on feminism, if any at all? Do you think things improve for men in this country, or do you think things will stay the same? What are your thoughts on that?
No, I believe things are gonna improve. I think that Donald Trump is already shaking up the country right now in just the first week. With some of the things he's signed with anti-abortion. I believe that men have to really support this particular president, even if you don't necessarily like some of the things that he says or like some of the things that he does. You have to understand that women do not appreciate you as men. They don't appreciate what you can do. They don't appreciate the fact that you protect the country. They don't appreciate the fact that you build buildings, you build bombs, you build airplanes. You do all the things that make the United States great. And the fact that you have a president who understands that men are important, because obviously his father was a contractor in the New York area. This is a great time to be a man in the United States. Because we have ideas, we have feelings, obviously, and feminism. With a person like Donald Trump, who's a successful billionaire, you don't continue a Fortune 500 company with people who make your business lose. And the United States is losing right now because women take more from the government than they actually fucking put in. And see, what happens is when you take paychecks out, taxes from Donovan Sharp's paycheck, that money could be used to educate more children and to use towards military spending. When you give it to women in government programs for women who make bad decisions and get themselves into certain situations, well, then what happens is when you take that money away from feminists, when they can't depend on the government, it forces women to go back to needing men. So when you cut government spending and you force women to either A, go build their societies by themselves without men, or you force women into going back and making a reconciliation with men. And the second thing is going to happen more than the first.
I could not agree more with the last part that you said. And this is one of the main reasons that the red pill exists, and one of the absolute main reasons why sexual relations between men and women are absolutely fucked up. And here is that issue. Women no longer need men because of the government. Yeah. The government bails women out of their bad decisions with free abortion, food stamps, housing, etc., etc. So women no longer have to worry about the adverse consequences that come with being sluts. And subconsciously, they know that being whores, they're not really going to pay the price. So what if I go out and I have 3 kids by three different men? I'm going to have Section 8 housing. I'm going to have food stamps. I'm going to have Medicaid for my kids. My kids will be taken care of because the government bails them out. And it's not the government that pays for this. It's responsible men like yourself and myself who pay this. Donald Trump is the antithesis. He is diametrically opposed to daddy government. And he said this in no uncertain terms. Trump has the ability to start to Trump's not going to make sweeping changes like that for men. That's going to take a long, long time to sort of root out of the government, bailing women out of their bad decisions with welfare and food stamps and the like. This is why women loved Hillary Clinton, because Donald Trump represents, Donald Trump represents accountability. His presidency and his stance on every social and political issue says that if you are a woman and you are sexually irresponsible, you're going to have to pay. Okay? No more daddy government bailing you out. Hillary Clinton wants to get up there and bitch about equal pay for equal work, or the wage gap, or whatever. Again, Hillary Clinton represents the status quo. Yes, continue to be sexually irresponsible, and the government will take care of you. My second point, the market will bear itself out. And here's what I mean. Donald Trump can't save men, Oshay. Only we can. Donald Trump is the vehicle, okay? He makes it a little more socially acceptable to talk about men's issues and about the red pill truth about women, okay? But only men on a, dare I say, grassroots level, only we can start the change. And men like yourself, men like myself, Roosh, Quintus, Rollo Tomasi at Illimitable, those guys, all of them, this is where it starts. And Trump just represents the ability to be able to talk about it more with a little less blowback. Not that it's never going to happen again. Not that we can't suffer consequences from spitting red pill truth. But again, the market will bear it out.
True. Absolutely.
Listen, people always complain about the cost of things. If we didn't buy it, the cost would go down. If a Suburban didn't cost $50,000, if people didn't buy Suburbans, then GMC wouldn't charge $50,000 for it. Right. If we don't want to pay the exorbitant prices for cars, then we shouldn't buy them. Well, guess what? GMC would have no choice but to lower the price of the car. So if the government didn't keep bailing women out, if they took that option away from women, then eventually they would stop slutting around. That's just how it would be.
Right. I totally agree.
Let me ask you one last question here. And this just sort of came up. What do you think? What do you think is the difference between regular feminism and black feminism, or is there a difference?
Well, very, 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 very good question. What regular feminism says in the mainstream is that, well, I'm a woman and I'm oppressed based off my sexuality. So that's what regular feminism says. A black feminism says I'm a minority. Okay, I'm black. I'm oppressed because of that, and I'm a woman. Okay, so what? So black feminism has another fuckery than even white feminism. It's even white women are not necessarily a protected group. All right, so well, let me kind of get into that. For example, you can talk about white women and not get in any trouble. You really can. You can make jokes
Sure.
about white women and not get in any trouble. But because black women are a protected group, just like the gays are, or the Jews, you see, you cannot talking about black women, well, fucking, you could lose your job unless you're a black man. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Totally agree.
black feminism is highly racially motivated. And see, what black women will do, if you look at things like Black Lives Matter, well, see, what black women will do is because they want to be a part of the black community, you see black feminism really leading the causes of black social justice warrior themes. Like Black Lives Matter is headed by fucking 3 or 4 fat black female lesbians. Okay?
Right.
So if you really look at black feminism, the default dictatorship of the black community is not really black women themselves. It hides itself within black feminism. Because once again, black feminism is just not where black women being oppressed. Black feminism says that we are black women being oppressed who want to run the black community, and it is us that need to run the black community. That's the difference between white feminism and black feminism. Black feminism has a kind of a grasp hold on the black community as the dictators. White feminism don't necessarily have that. The white feminism can cause problems within the white community, but they damn sure can't run it. Where black feminism is the leadership and they dictate to the black community.
No, I agree 100%. And I think black feminism is almost like feminism on steroids.
Yeah.
Black feminists seem to be even more militant in their beliefs. They seem to be even loud. They are louder. They're loud fucking people. But black feminism just seems to be a bigger, badder, blacker version of feminism. And the thing is it's unbelievable to me that they've actually labeled it black feminism. Look, man, feminism is feminism, no matter what, man. Like, it doesn't matter if you're black or white. It doesn't matter. The feminine imperative knows no race. Black women have the same imperative as white women. Yes, there are different elements because of the color of their skin. There are cultural elements to consider, but by and large, it is largely the same. It really is.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's the same. But it's definitely the same concept. But what people have to realize is that black feminism also hides itself within a lot of other social justice within a lot of other civil rights issues within black community. Whereas white feminism, for example, wouldn't be dealing with, let's say, something that affects the white community, maybe let's say heroin. But you will see black feminism against like police brutality, and then what they will say is, oh, it's us out here as black women who are protecting you black men. I mean, that's how black feminism has a lot more fuckery It has a lot more. It has and then black feminism also is power hungry. It's just not feminism. It's the complete hold of the black community that they're trying to control and dictate. And they can hide themselves within being pro-black. They can hide themselves with being Afrocentric, within being Pan-Africanism, being the martyrs of the black community. The black woman is God with pro-blacks and the hoteps like Brother Polite and Pharaoh Allah, which is a whole other discussion in itself. See, the black feminism is multifaceted, much more so than I think white feminism is. Because black feminism can do things that white feminism can only dream they can do.
Okay, like what?
Oh my God. Black feminism can dictate to the things that oppress black men. Like I said, for example, black feminism can lead the charge on police brutality. They can lead organize things that they can say, hey, black feminism can basically say, I can organize things that you can't do as black men. Or white feminism cannot say that. And the reason why white feminism cannot say that, they can organize things that they can say, hey, black feminism can basically say, I can organize. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, black feminism can pretty much organize things for black men and even convince black men that without us, you can't do this. Because we're your leaders. We are the ones that are running the communities. White feminism can't really tell that to white men because white men typically, they still have patriarchal structure. Whereas black feminism can shame black men like your mama's, but that really works with a lot of black men. A lot of black men are really, 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 really close to their mothers, no matter how bad they treat them. And you have to understand that with regards to white feminism, 72% of single mother-led births are from black women. So black men have a extreme loyalty to single black mothers, extreme loyalty.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Oshay, we actually have we've got a caller on the line here. I guess, I don't know if we want to call it a caller, but we have somebody else joining us with a question or a comment. The name is, I don't really know how to pronounce the name. Demond, is that correct? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, very good. How do you pronounce your name?
It's Demond. You got it right.
Okay, Demond, what you got for us, man?
Okay. First of all, I want to thank both of you brothers, Donovan. I follow you on Twitter, Oshay. Subscribe to the Negro Manosphere. I've been following you guys for the last, say, roughly 4 months. So thank you for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Pleasure's ours.
I had a quick question, man. I work at a local hospital here in Northeast Ohio, kind of 30 minutes west of Cleveland. I work in the IT department. So I'm kind of like, I'm already a minority being a brother working in the hospital. It's not a lot of us that works there. So the selection of black women at the hospital is, slim to none unless they're in housekeeping, transportation, or dietary. Very few nurses. I get a lot of attention from the white females, and just in the area in general, I don't have much to select from as far as quality black women. So I have dated, the decent prospects of white women, and I was just saying if you guys had any tips or advice for me as to where to look to find probably some more quality sisters, because I don't see them at the gym, as we all know.
Well, thanks for the question, Demond. And Oshay, I'll let you go first. I think you have more recent success with black women, even though you live in Poland. What can you advise Demond in terms of where to look for quality black women? What would be your advice to him?
Wow. Well, let me ask you this, Demond. What is your I know you work in the IT department, but if you don't mind me asking, like, what is your college background like? Just out of the blue, are you like a college graduate or?
Yes, I have an associate's degree from local community college. I support an application for the hospital. Currently working on a bachelor's in like a nonprofit business administration degree. So I'm in the middle stages of kind of getting established. So I do have a decent position. I started out at a very low position in the hospital and worked my way up here. Shortly awaiting a promotion that'll be much more significant. So I'm kind of like in the middle of the road. So I'm not trying to reach too high as far as I've had opportunity to deal with some women in the environment, but they're dealing with a woman that makes more money than you. You kind of know what roadblocks that you face, because if it's just kind of like a fuck on the low, or especially from physicians, they don't want to really publicize or kind of courting and kind of just dating in public. It's kind of, you got to do everything on the low. So
listen. Yeah, I totally agreed. Not to cut you off here, but it's good that you have a good grasp on that. Women will fuck down, okay? And they'll fuck on the low. They'll fuck the janitor. They'll fuck the mechanic. They'll fuck the plumber, but they would never be seen with those types of men in public. Women always want to be seen with men who not only they, but society perceives to be superior to her. And I've said this for a long time. The more a woman accomplishes, the further she shrinks her pool of potential suitors. So if you want to go to the quote apex female, the female CEO, she can date like maybe 5 people in the world. That's just how it goes. So go ahead and continue. I just wanted to throw that in there, and it's good that you understand that if you do start fucking a female doctor, it's not going anywhere unless you are a doctor or a hospital administrative doctor, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. So another obstacle that I faced working there is that the potentials that I have, once again, if I reach back into, maybe some departments or women that have gigs is probably a little lower in the pool of as far as like housekeeping, transportation, or dietary. If they have a child, I'm already eliminating them from, any type of strong potential, whether it's anything just physical. So I'm stuck because it's not really a lot of like sisters to work at the hospital. Then there's the surrounding areas, and then just where I reside is it's kind of low income. The neighborhood is kind of a Hispanic Black mix, but the majority of the women around me, they got kids, and I'm just not interested. So Cleveland is 30 minutes west. I'm from Cleveland, and we just kind of deal with it. I just kind of try to reach out to brothers that if they have any type of advice, I'm just all ears. So
let me ask you a few questions here, Demond, just to sort of get a better grasp on your particular situation. How old are you?
33.
Okay, so you're 33. So you're a young guy. Do you have any kids?
No kids.
Okay, so you're 33, you have no kids. What kind of shape are you in?
Pretty decent shape, man. I go to the gym at least 5-6 times a week.
Okay, how tall are you?
5'11".
Okay, how much do you weigh?
240.
Okay, all right. So you're a pretty big dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have no kids, and how long have you been in the industry that you are at right now?
6 years.
6 years. Okay. Are you originally from Cleveland?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have family in the Cleveland area?
Yeah, all my family's back there. I'm pretty much out here by myself.
Okay. All right. Here's what I would suggest. And fortunately for you, Demond, you are in the minority in terms of your situation. You're a 33-year-old guy who has no kids. You have an industry, like you have a skill or a trade that is mobile. So I would suggest 2 things to you. The first thing is you need to start dating. You need to start dating outside your race. I'm never going to tell you what you should or shouldn't do. But if you want to get your dick wet, you got to start thinking outside the box. Start hollering at the mommies, the Latinas. Start hollering at the white girls. I mean, you said white girls they're giving you play at the hospital. So guess what, man? Start dating white girls. And the thing is this, man, if your options in terms of black women are limited, you have to start dating outside your race. I mean, that's just a natural byproduct of something being scarce. The second option that I would highly suggest is, dude, you need to relocate, man. You live in Cleveland, Ohio. Okay. And and listen, man, no offense, because I mean, I'm sure Cleveland's a great city. I've flown through there at some point in time, but look, try the West Coast, not California, because the taxes are high, but go down south, maybe to Florida. Okay, go to Phoenix, Arizona, where you probably. I was in Phoenix. I vacationed with a chick that I'm seeing in Hawaii last October, and before she actually arrived in Phoenix, me and a college buddy of mine walked around Phoenix, and we sat down and ate at a restaurant. Every girl we saw was fit and beautiful. You will find, Damond, that the warmer the weather is, the more plentiful hot chicks are. I used to live in Las Vegas. There are hotties everywhere, okay? Yeah. Black girls, white girls, Hispanic girls. The warmer the client, the hotter the chicks. Because when you're in a warmer client, you show more skin. Well, women are conscious of what they look like. So if you want to look good and have all these options, you have to keep yourself fit. So fortunately for you, you're not married. You don't have any kids. You can go anywhere you want. That's what I personally would advise you to do.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for the call, Damond. We certainly appreciate it. Oshay, did you have anything to add for Damond?
Damond, let me ask you this. And the reason why I asked what your highest educational level was, because I know for a fact that black women typically are looking for somebody that's on their educational level. So let me ask you this. Are you looking for like a serious relationship with a black woman? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, I mean, potentially, if I had something to, my first choice, it would be a black woman. I have in Donovan, that's what I've been able to select from is, I've been dating white women and I've dated a lot of Puerto Rican women since I've been out this way. And, I've had a much easier time, just to reference what you guys were just saying. It seems like they gravitate more toward the education background, just me being able to hold a conversation and being different from what we actually see out in this area. Having a lot of, the heroin boom is really big out here. So it's a lot of dudes not doing really much of anything. So just being in school, period, or just having some type of educational background where you have a conversation with these chicks. I bag a lot of chicks just based on being able to hold a conversation. So, right. But I don't see those strong potentials in black women. Even in school and just a community college campuses, it's not really a lot. I know I'm working on my bachelor's through the same community college. So it seems like the higher I go, the less potentials I have with sisters, and maybe that option to travel might just be what I need to do.
Let me kind of say this. So here's the thing good about Cleveland. Cleveland is like what, 50% black? Right?
Yeah, it's maybe even higher because the surrounding areas are where you see a mix, not really the city of Cleveland. It seems like it's predominantly black.
Okay. I know Cleveland is highly black, highly democratic. So here's my two things I would suggest. Number one, you're 33, right?
Yes.
Okay. If you're 33, then you dating a chick that's maybe like 30 or maybe close to your age, even if she had everything you're looking for, would be a no-no. I'm going to tell you what Ringo TV Raw would say is you're probably going to have to get a black chick like. Go ahead.
I've seen it. I'm sorry. I'm assuming to cut you off. I just watched this video about dating, and I follow him through you also. Thank you.
Yeah.
I watched this video on dating a younger. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I would tell you two things. Number one is if you're going to find a black woman, because probably the older she is, the more dysfunctional relationship she's went through with black men, and by the time she gets like 30, she's fucked up. So you're gonna try to want to scoop up a chick maybe it's 18 or 19. That's number one. Because if you look at taking her serious, you're gonna have to train her, right? That's number one. The number two thing is three things. The number two thing is you want to date somebody that has less education than you. So you're working on your bachelor's, then you don't want a black woman with a bachelor's, right? you want a woman who's going to be impressed by what you do. So that means you're going to let hypergamy take its place, meaning that you're going to be dating a woman who probably, like I said, you know what you're doing, right? She doesn't need to be too smart, doesn't need to be too bright. As long as she's docile and submissive,
Right.
that's what you want. I hate to say this. You never want to, like, I'm in med school, like my girlfriend, she's not in med school. Nor is she even thinking about being a fucking doctor, right? And the reason for that is because I have my role, she has hers. Third thing, and I live in Poland. You know, I don't know like how much money you have, but if you're really interested in Black women in other places, then what you need to do is possibly thinking about visiting an African country that's English speaking. Place like Uganda, or places that will allow you to make a secondary income and you could live there at least part of the year. I'm not saying go over and get married and bring a bitch back to Cleveland.
Hell no, don't do that.
I'm not saying that at all. But you know, I'm saying that maybe expand yourself, because you might get another opportunity someplace else. And what I mean as far as an opportunity is an opportunity to maybe expand yourself with your knowledge and create a new technology someplace else. Now, I will tell you that me being in Poland, I've never made as much money as I have been since I've been here. And the reason that happened is because I got it the fuck up out of the United States. And it drove me to do something and be creative to make another stream of income. That actually happens. When you leave the United States, and you go someplace else, something that just clicks in you, you say, wow, there's something that I can bring here that's not already here, or there's something that I can do that I haven't been doing. So I definitely suggest you to get a passport, go to one of these countries, and then like my boy Philco, have you ever heard him? Philco versus Universe?
I hear you mention him a lot on air.
Okay, so Philco versus Universe is a guy who makes a ton of money now. He lives in Russia. He went to Russia 3 or 4 times, and now he lives there, you know? So I would strongly consider, you know, doing what other people have done, going to a place, coming back, saving some money, going back again, and then try to make yourself in a situation where you can maybe at some point live in a country that has women and you can still make money. That's the best thing to do.
Listen, I think the underlying theme here, Demond, is you got to get the hell out of Cleveland, man. If you, and listen, man, trust me, man. Like, I know your family lives there, but you don't really sound like. And this is the difference between men and women. We don't need to be around our family. We don't need a quote unquote support system. We're fucking men, okay? If we have problems, we fucking handle it because we're fucking men, and this is the way we're made. We don't need all that emotional support. Yes, it helps to have family and friends around us who are just a stone's throw away, but we don't. No man ever kicked life's ass because I'm close to my family. That's just not the way it works. So again, the underlying theme here is that it's and you're still listen, man, you're still a young guy. You really are. You are entering the prime of your life. You're only 33. So start entertaining the possibility of maybe moving to another state or moving to another country. If you truly desire a quality Black female, you're not going to find it in Cleveland. You're damn sure not going to find it in Atlanta. You're not going to find it. You'd be hard pressed to find a quality Black female in the United States. You will probably have to travel outside of the United States to find anything like that. But whatever you decide to do, I'm fairly certain that whatever it is you're looking for, you're not going to find it in Cleveland. I think that's the bottom line here.
Okay. All right.
Well, thanks for the call, Demond. We certainly appreciate your viewership and you know, supporting us and things of that nature. Oshay, that's all I got, man. I think we have we've disparaged Black women as much as we can. I think it's fairly obvious the way we feel. Again, guys, definitely follow Oshay Duke Jackson on YouTube. He puts out a shitload of great videos. He's got over 700 now. Obviously, you want to check out blackmanosphere.com. It's a site that I write for myself.
Negromanosphere.com.
Negromanosphere.com. My apologies. Oshay, are you on Twitter by chance?
I'm not on Twitter. And by the way, Donovan has written over 15 or 16 articles for the site. It just haven't been published yet. So it's going to be published over the next. So Follow Donovan Sharp on NegroManosphere.com also.
Yeah, I'm a pretty good follow, man. And like I said, I always say this: the reason why this stuff comes so easily to me, I don't ever have to think about content or what should I write about. It's because I live this life. You know, the red pill life is a life of congruity. You can't talk the talk and not be walking the walk, man. Like if you're fake, eventually you're going to be outed. I live this stuff. I breathe it. I absolutely love doing it. Which is why I can produce, so much of this content in a short period of time. But gentlemen, thank you for tuning to this. Listen, O'Shay's nodding his head because he's had to pay me for these articles. You're like, you're goddamn right. He can produce some shit. He's producing out of my fucking. No, not cheap at all, but it's definitely well worth the read. Again, Oshay Duke Jackson on YouTube. Definitely visit negromanosphere.com. Thanks for listening to this edition of the Sharp Reality Live. Next week, I will be joined once again by I Am of IllimitableMen.com, one of the most brilliant writers in the Red Pill Manosphere. So it'll be live next Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oshay, it's been an honor. Thanks for joining me today, and I will talk to you soon, my friend.
Shout out to Illimitable Man, awesome writer, man. I'm a big fan, so if you get him, let him know I said hello, and thanks for having me on.
All right, Oshay, take care.
Peace.